This week's a big week. We have a big launch. We just launched on Wednesday, which is amazing. So we're 2 days in.
That's right. And we record this on Tuesday. So
Yes.
we're actually waiting for the launch tomorrow.
Yes.
But we release this on Friday, so we'll be 2 days into it already.
I've just explained that. Yes.
That's
So
pretty exciting.
You explained it twice now.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
You got it. What are we launching?
I'm mansplaining.
You're mansplaining? Back to me, the man who just explained it?
No. But just in case. I have been waiting for this day.
For months now.
Oh my goodness.
Months now.
Yeah. And really the arena has been years in the making.
You just rolled it out, soft roll, just like that.
Yeah.
So we launched a new project, our community, our online community, our online home called The Arena. Find your voice, master your message.
Yeah, and 30 years ago we launched Mosaic, and it was so innovative, inventive, and different and unique. And it was one of the most exciting things I'd ever done in my life. And I feel like the Arena is a parallel of that level of risk and innovation and creativity. And so I have the excitement of a brand new dad. And I feel like we're giving birth to something so special, so unique, so different. And what's really fun is
Wait. Before we get too into it,
Yeah.
let's just explain exactly what it is. Because today's Tuesday, so we're still
Sure.
making tweaks on the web. Austin's probably over there on his computer working on it like right now. We've been going back and forth. And and with this idea that we're working on the messaging, we're continually working on making the website just the easiest way to explain and understand this thing.
To me, the Arena is the future of learning. It is a learning community where we focus on 3 pillars: communication, leadership, character. And those 3 pillars create a giant space where we talk about big ideas. There's just no question in my mind that the singular skill that will create a ceiling in your life is communication. Your ability to communicate will in many ways dictate your capacity to succeed, to elevate, to grow, to advance in life. And it'll be disproportionate. The better you are at communicating your vision, your values, your ideas, your principles, the more effective a leader you will be, the more influence you will have, and the more you will find yourself constantly elevating in life. And so if I could just focus on one singular skill set to help you succeed, it would be communicate. Refine these skills, develop this talent. If you don't feel like you have any talent, build massive disciplines and skills. And then what you may find is as you develop these skills and disciplines, you're going to find talent you didn't know you had. And that talent's going to unlock, because communication is an intrinsic human attribute. Every human being is created with the ability to communicate. It's our ability to translate our ideas, the stuff inside of us, and to transfer it into the lives of others. That's the power of communication.
Okay, so a year ago, we launched a thing called The Art of Communication.
Yes, we did.
Basically, that went off really well. And we wanted to build that ecosystem and that environment.
Yes.
So when you sign up for the Arena, you get The Art of Communication, which is 3,000. You get for 7 frequencies of communication, which I think is like 12 to 2,500.
Yeah.
You also get an up and coming one that you're releasing in
You're
a
gonna
few
get
months.
so
No,
many
I'm explaining.
up-and-coming
I'm
ones.
being really tactical.
Yeah. Okay.
You're also getting the character matrix, which is a 4-hour session that you did, which is phenomenal. So that kind of brings us to, and you're also doing the leadership matrix as well. So you're focusing on character, leadership, and communication. So we're kind of building on the art of communication. So if you're wondering if this thing is valuable, what's the price point right now, Austin? $3,664 for the year. So if you pay upfront for the annual cost, you save 12%, but you also get basically $5,000 worth of stuff right off the bat, and then including
Without anything being added.
you already make money. You've made money on us. And then we're doing weekly sessions where we're breaking down whether it's messages or sales calls, whether it's people who are speaking or leading or needing self-mastery, and we're doing online summits. We did a 10-week communication series that was connected to the art of communication, and we released all of those Zoom calls added as part of the content. So you're getting like 20 hours up front of content, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, and when we released the Art of Communication, it was 6 hours of masterclass. But what we didn't tell anyone is when they paid for it they were given 10 weeks of live
Q&As.
sessions.
Yeah.
1 hour sessions, Q&A for 10 weeks. And that was, to me, that was the magical part of it.
Yeah.
And that became the incubator for the arena, because it was in that learning community that those early adopters who joined us in the beginning and were there week after week after week, they really, in many ways, pioneered what has become the arena. And it's this extraordinary space where you can grow and learn and interact and be refined. And for me, it's taking all my experiences in my past. It's having been a member of TED for 20 years and been to probably over 20 TED conferences around the world, and the endless number of conversations and the incubation of ideas and conversations, and translating that into this kind of space, which I think is going to be so unique. And frankly, I was looking at the tuition at Harvard, and I actually saw tuition for 219, 220, which was around 46,000 or something like that. You saw it in 220, 223, it was like 50 something thousand.
Yeah.
But I noticed that their administration fee,
So just the application fee.
just the application fee was $4,200.
Yeah.
And I thought, just to apply to Harvard is going to cost you more than to be a member of the arena.
Yeah.
So when people are trying to, in a sense, understand the scale, you're getting so much in this environment that you will not get anywhere else in the world. And I really do think this is the future of education, and it really is the university for entrepreneurs.
Yeah, one thing that's really exciting to me is the 10-week Q&A was a bit of a monolith for you and I, because we were like, how can we do this for 10 weeks?
Yeah.
10 weeks of topics, 10 weeks of Q&As, 10 weeks of interaction, and then it ended up being the most fun part.
I loved it.
So the arena really is those last 10 weeks. It's us going, okay, what if we open this up to an online community where we can engage with each other and inspire each other, keep each other accountable, be vulnerable with each other, and elevate each other.
Yeah.
And so there's an app that comes with essentially signing up. So when we did Art of Calm, we threw up a Facebook community page.
Yeah.
And then for the 10 weeks, people were going off in the community page, and people were commenting, engaging, and like had nothing to do with me, had nothing to do with you. It was just like people were just encouraging each other and giving each other kind of responses to and feedback to what they were posting. And that's what the arena is. So there's an app that kind of comes with it that essentially is an online community where you are able to engage with the other hundreds and hundreds of people that will be on this app, which I'm really excited about. And you'll be on the app, I'll be on the app, Austin will be on the app, some great friends of ours will be on there as well. And we'll be hosting weekly sessions as well as monthly kind of summits where you invite guests that are from all walks of life and dive deeper into what we're doing. So that's the hard sell. That's the soft sell. If that doesn't sound interesting to you, I don't really know what to do. But I think it's one of those things. I was listening to this clip today, and who is the incredible comedian? She's really tall. She has the afro. She's from Saturday Night Live. Leslie.
Oh yeah, but it's Leslie. I can't remember her last.
Leslie Jones, and
Yeah.
she was saying that like she was talking to Cat Williams, and she was like, Cat, I'm so broke. And he goes, no, you're not broke. You're talented. You're talented. You have so much talent. There's no way you could ever be broke with so much talent. You just haven't made it yet. And it changed her mentality, going, okay, like to have a raw skill and to develop it was what he was saying.
Yeah.
You have this raw talent, now go develop it. And don't worry about money, worry about excellence and building this talent that is so raw within you. And I thought it was such a brilliant quote. And I feel like there's so many communicators around the world that want to get better, and they're looking for the singular thing to do to get better. But as we know it, there is no singular thing. But one thing that has made me better is being around you. And if we could bottle that up and sell that as like a genie potion, that is what this community is access to one of the greatest thinkers and minds and the people who are on the same frequency, which I'm really excited about.
Yeah, and I look back, I mean, I had the opportunity to go to a really great university at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, and to Elon University before that. But I'd say 90% of the courses I took were completely irrelevant to my life.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember at Chapel Hill having to take geology. They called it rocks for jocks.
You talk about there's another reason that class exists, and that's because that's how they pass the football players. But
that's how all the football players got their A and stuff like that.
But you talk about this in your book, Mind Shift. Well, I think it's the second to last chapter. You talk about this.
Well, I mean, I look at it and go, so much of my life was wasted in classes that were completely irrelevant to my life. Not only that, but even if you made an A in those classes, you still would not be better prepared for life. because they didn't teach you the skills you needed.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking back at high school. I remember being bored to death in Western civilization and being bored to death in so many courses going, this is just so irrelevant to my life. And I mean, I'm so grateful I know the periodic table. It just changed my life. I mean,
Do you know it? I don't know it.
I'm joking. I mean, we had to memorize that thing, right? Because it was life or death.
Yes.
If you don't have the periodic table memorized, you can't succeed in life. But they're not teaching you how to think. They're not teaching you how to lead. They're not teaching you how to create culture. They're not teaching you how to communicate. They're not teaching you how to make money. No. They're not teaching you how to accomplish your goals. They're not teaching you anything you actually need for life.
No.
And so if I could bypass all of that, I would create the arena. But I'm creating the arena for me, when I was 17 years old, because if I had had the arena, I would have accelerated the next 30 years. I would have accomplished them in 3.
I flew back from London to be here live because I could not like hold on anymore. I couldn't hold on to the excitement. I couldn't hold on to the nerves. I know Dan, our guy in Bali, was trying to get here as well and got stuck in China. Like I flew back a few days early to make sure that there's no excuse for me to be here with you in Austin and the team to launch this thing because I'm so excited. And I think the importance of it is it just prevails and adds on top of everything that we're doing, and I told you this, I wish that I had never gone to university, even though I really did have a great time. I learned so much stuff I didn't need ever again. But I wish I had gone to cooking school. I said that because, now I know about Western civilization and the Old Testament, New Testament, and, American history, but I do not know how to cook or do my taxes. So this is one of those skills-based culinary schools for communication, leadership, and character. And the character part, can you talk a bit about that? Because I feel like it was not a last minute add. It's been a pillar of the three pillars that we were building this on. It's one of the core pillars, and we worked on the language, but character we felt was so important. So can you talk a little bit about why that's so important?
Yeah, I think sometimes, especially if you're a person of faith, the word character sounds like a moral statement. I'm trying to make people Christian. But the reality is that even the Greeks with Marcus Aurelius understood the importance of character.
High character, yeah.
Called virtues.
Yes.
And, in fact, one of the more dynamic scenes in Gladiator is when Joaquin Phoenix's character is saying, I have virtues too.
Yes.
Everything he identified was not a virtue.
Yes.
And the whole premise of that film in many ways is that Maximus, who wasn't in a sense royalty, had all the characteristic virtues of nobility. And then, Commodus, who's, really his son, didn't have any of them. And there was this, even back then, this deep knowledge that a man of character, of virtue, a person, a woman of character, virtue, had a power to them that was more significant than their ability to use a sword. Because skill teaches you how to use a sword, and character teaches you when to use a sword. And it's a dangerous thing to give a skill to a person without character. And so I want one of our pillars, it has to be, is that defining mark. By the way, the word character means a defining mark. Like the letters in the alphabet, A, B, C, D, are all characters. They're defining marks. And your character is your defining mark. It's who you really are. And so I don't know how you want to talk about communication and leadership without character, because you cannot lead people if you don't understand your defining mark, because that's the mark you're going to leave on other people.
I'm taking so many notes.
Right, and where are you going to communicate if you don't understand your defining mark? It will be disingenuous when you have one message coming out of your mouth and a different message coming out of your essence. So it's all integrated.
And this is the thing this is what's so unique about you, right? Because, I think people who are listening to this podcast, maybe this is more informational, and we do this, we got a little bit of feedback on our iTunes. Some young guy or maybe older guy, I don't know, said that all we do is sell our products now on our podcast. Which I don't mind, because it's the things that we care about. Like we don't create things to keep them silent. We don't create things to keep them quiet. And I was listening to another interview. I love interviews. I love podcasts. I've been reading your book. I read your book forward. I read your book backwards. I actually liked it backwards. And it was just really unique because you actually, this book is really unique in two ways. I mean, in a lot of ways, but one of the ways in which you incorporate your faith. The genius, especially, it's a departure from The Genius of Jesus, where the book is really this book about Jesus.
Yes.
The entirety of its book, every page in it. But this book really is about the mindset that you have achieved and discovered through your relationship with Jesus, right? And you kind of talk about that in the last 2 chapters, which is really like one of my favorite parts, because it was like, you reveal it, and you reveal it on the 3rd page in the dedication. But what I find so unique to us in this product. Oh, sorry, I was listening to an interview and it talked about, I think it was Tyler, the Creator, and it talked about, I really like him. I think he's just kind of one of those guys of our generation that has a unique perspective. And he talked about how he doesn't understand when young people only post about their product one time. And he's like, yeah, you write a song, you record a song, and then you release it and you post it one time. Like, he goes, I've been posting about my album for like 1.5 years. He goes, I'm proud of that thing.
Yeah.
He goes, it doesn't matter if it's the biggest album in the world, or the smallest one in the world. He goes, but I'm proud to create, and I want people to enjoy my creation. And I'm like, man, this is how I feel about this space. It's all I've been talking about for the last few months, is like, what do you do? Oh, we built the arena. We're building the arena. And even before we had a name for it, because we only came up with the name maybe 6 weeks ago.
Yep.
You know, it was like our online community. We've called it a plethora of different names. You know, and for us to finally land on the name, to find our defining mark, to call it the arena, for it to be, you know, can I read the speech from Theodore Roosevelt?
Yeah.
I have it. I just have to pull it up.
And ironically, you came up with the name of the arena, and then I sent you that quote.
Yeah. Oh, Austin just sent it to me. I was in our text already. Can I read it?
Yeah, please.
Okay, it says, the man in the arena. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming. But who does actually strive to do the deeds? Who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. This is one of the most beautiful quotes I've ever read.
It's epic, isn't it?
But how did you find it? And how did you think of it? Was it in a group text with people? I know I sent it to our mastermind early on.
Yeah, after the name came, well, you know how when you hear something, all of a sudden you see it everywhere? You know, if you buy like a Mini Cooper, now you see Mini Coopers everywhere. Like,
so true.
That quote did not come to mind. But once you named it the arena, by the next day, I saw it in the universe. You know, it just came to me. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And the moment I announced it, people started like going, oh, the arena.
The arena.
And people are familiar with that quote.
Yeah.
Started also like saying, is it, you know, in fact, some people were misquoting it to someone else, but
really?
it's Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah.
Yeah, but other people attribute it to other people, you know.
Who?
Oh, I don't know, but you know, it's funny how like a lot of people attribute to like Oprah or Maya Angelou things that they were quoting someone else.
Yeah,
you know? It's like
those moments.
The most famous person who said it last is the person everyone thinks said it. You know? So maybe it'll be you.
Yes.
If you just keep saying it long enough, they'll forget it was Teddy Roosevelt.
Wait, what is the quote from American Prometheus? I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
Yeah.
Did you see? We saw it together. Oh,
yeah,
did we see it? We saw it together.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not changing the subject.
You mean Oppenheimer?
Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
I almost picked up the book in the airport in London on the way home, and it's like 700 pages, and I was like, I could read Mind Shift 5 more times. I need to read that a bit more before we get to that.
But even there, they say, what's that word? What's that German word? Zeitgeist? You know?
Zeitgeist. Yeah.
Zeitgeist. You know? Yeah. It's like I didn't know Oppenheimer started with Prometheus, but that Sunday that Oppenheimer was released, I began my message with Prometheus.
It's interesting, isn't it?
And then I go see Oppenheimer 2 days later, and I'm shocked that it opens up with the exact same story that I opened up my message with on Sunday. So sometimes it just feels like there's just something out there in the universe. It's like a conversation that we're all supposed to be in.
It is odd, right?
If we're paying attention, if you're listening.
There is an odd synchronicity that we have with the universe.
Yeah, and that is to me the other great space in the arena. Because we have the 3 pillars: communication, leadership, and character. But that space in between is the big ideas.
Yeah.
And that's where you came up with the name of the arena, because I said, I want something like the Areopagus. I want a place where, I mean, I was a follower of Socrates before I was a follower of Jesus, you know, and
we were riding bikes, me and you.
And I said, I want a place where Socrates is like defending truth, and he's arguing with, the council, and I want a place where we debate big ideas, and we talk about philosophy and theology and culture and leadership and artificial intelligence and, whatever else is out there. And you go, oh, that's the arena. And the moment you said it, it was so obvious that was the name. I don't always have the best idea, but I'm really good at identifying the best idea.
You are the wood that burns the flame. And if we stay warm and create from it, it's because you kept it going, And I think we were riding our bikes and you were like shouting out names, and you're like virtue. And I was like, I don't know. You're like, Socrates made it cool. We can make it cool again.
That's what I said. I think we should call it the Acropolis.
And I think I was like, no.
Like, what's the Acropolis?
What's the Acropolis?
Can't even pronounce it. And then you go, no, it's the arena. And I knew instantly that
I think we went
my idea was dead.
Well, I think we went Acropolis, and then we went Colosseum, and then we went to something, and then we knew it was this place that we wanted to have a place where we could battle with ideas.
And then being Latin, the word arena is arena, which means sand.
Oh.
And because the sand is where what they would throw on the ground, where the gladiators would fight, and that's why you have the image of the gladiator grabbing the sand and letting it slip through his hands before he grabs his sword. And the arena is like the sand where we stand and go to war over great ideas.
I'm referring back to that. I mean, I love this. I love this conversation. I love creating with you. Like, I think, I've been more nervous. I couldn't sit in London any longer. I was having the best time. Shout out to my great friend McLaren. Shout out to Austin for being patient and working with me in the hours of, in London I was working like 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. and going to dinners afterwards, and Austin was bearing with me and doing so much on his own, and it wasn't ideal timing, but it was ideal, in its own way. But I couldn't hold back, and I was in the shower today, and I was like, man, I'm nervous. Like I'm anxious.
Yeah, of course.
Like I feel a desperation for this, and it isn't because I'm afraid to fail. I would hate it if it does. And we talked about this, like, what is failure to us? Like, no, we're so committed to doing this. This idea feels scary. It feels monolithic. It feels like we're at the bottom of a mountain, and we get to go on this journey together. So,
I think you're nervous because we know how important this is.
Yeah.
And how significant it could be on a global scale, and it's almost like this is an idea whose time has come. We just want to mess it up.
We don't. We don't.
Speaking of that, though.
Wait. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, go. Well, what are you going to talk about?
I was going to take a hard right turn, so go ahead.
Well, because I forgot about like maybe one of the biggest things that it's included in the arena.
What's that?
We're doing the arena live in Los Angeles. So it's not just an online community. We're literally doing a conference summit at Mosaic in Hollywood.
Yes.
But the arena is hosting it.
October 6th and 7th, Friday and Saturday.
6th and 7th, Friday and Saturday. And here are the speakers. You want to walk us through it?
Let's walk through a couple of speakers. Let me give you just a couple. Well, part of the reason I'm overdressed today
is because
I'm on my way to
you look good.
Do a podcast with my friend Lewis Howes.
Okay.
And I'm going to go over to the School of Greatness and have a conversation with him over there, probably about my next book, Mind Shift, and the arena. And Lewis is going to be one of the speakers.
Yeah.
In the arena.
Yeah.
On October 6th and 7th.
Yeah.
Also, my friend John Gordon.
Yeah.
Who's had like a dozen number one, whatever,
bestsellers,
Wall Street bestsellers, and he'll be speaking as well.
Yeah.
And I have a new friend I've invited named Todd Herman, and what fascinated me about Todd is that Todd has a book around the concept of creating alter egos, and he is basically the mindset coach for Rafa Nadal, for Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Also, he was the guy who Kobe hired, and he created
Black Mamba, right?
Black Mamba, the alter ego Black Mamba for Kobe.
He's actually speaking?
Yeah, he's going to be speaking.
He's the guy?
Yeah, he's the guy. And and Todd's going to, I'm basically inviting.
I haven't met him.
Friends in my life who I love to hear and interact with.
Sorry. No. We should announce Jamie.
We have Jamie Kern-Lima who's coming, and of course,
Jamie Kern-Lima, just Google her.
She's one of the few women in the United States who started a company from scratch and sold it for $1.2 billion after, I think, 9 years.
Yeah.
So, it took her a long time.
A long time. What?
What could she have done with 2 decades?
What could she have done with 10 years? But Google It Cosmetics.
Yeah.
Check out her book, Believe It. Yeah. She's like a sleeper.
Yeah.
Because she's so energetic and so enthusiastic and such like this kind of like when it comes to influence and effectiveness, like she can go pound to pound with some of the biggest entrepreneurs out there in the world. But she's made it so much about bringing joy and inspiration and entrepreneurship to women and young people all over the world. And she just has a unique perspective.
Yeah, she could come in and be a shark.
Yeah,
she could be the killer whale that just eats everybody, but she doesn't. She comes in and talks about having worked at Denny's, and she believes in the underdog.
Yeah, and
that's her. I think her whole focus.
Yeah,
oftentimes. So those are just some of the speakers that we have.
Is she the underdog, man? I don't want to see the dog.
We have others coming. In fact, I just had a few people. Oh, my friend Jerry Lorenzo confirmed yesterday.
Yeah,
founder of Fear of God,
and
probably the most influential fashion brand
on this planet.
On the planet, yeah.
Of human history.
He's going to do something. And then
what?
Pia Whitesell is going to speak. And
that's our new friend.
Wanted to make sure we had some really great both male and female representation in the group.
And these are all people who are in the business space for the most part. John kind of dabbles in being in both, obviously the spiritual and the business.
But really, they're all known just for being in the business space.
Yeah.
But as they found a faith, in fact, it's kind of funny because, I've had some influence in some of their lives.
Yeah.
And when I first knew them, they were only in the business space. And now they talk about their faith all the time. And I said, some of you actually are preaching a lot more. Nobody knows it because you're speaking at IBM. So they think you're only doing a business talk. And so it's going to be a great group.
And really there's more. And there's more.
Yeah.
And so, the Arena Live in Los Angeles isn't exclusive to just people in the arena. Mm-hmm. If you go to the arena, you go to erwinmcmanus.com, you can find ways to essentially to register for the live event. Mm-hmm. It's going to be 2 days. It's going to be very exciting. I'm very excited. Yeah. It's going to be completely different. And this is the first one. And I think this to me feels like what you did when I was a little kid called Origins. Back at Mosaic, and it was the first thing. It was East Los Angeles, and it was a creative arts conference, leadership and creativity and spirituality. This feels like that. This feels like the brainchild of 30 years of maybe manifestation and prayers and ideation, and then to be able to host it in our home at Mosaic is a gift because we're just the best people and the best team here. So it's gonna be very exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited because it's purely in the entrepreneurial business space.
Yeah.
And I think it's basically 3 ways you can join. Is one by joining the arena, 2 is by buying a ton of books.
We'll buy a box of books.
Box of Mind Shift.
Yeah, your new book.
Because we're using the event as a way of helping launch the book.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we're going to actually sell tickets.
We are, but it's essentially going to be the same amount as if you were to buy a box of books.
So I'd rather have you go buy a box of books.
And then,
you set us the receipt, and then you're registered.
Yeah.
And I want to go back to the person who said, it seems like we're selling a lot, or all we're doing is selling.
Yeah.
It's interesting. If you listen to people who do an analysis of life, it's basically, if you don't learn how to sell, you will not be very good at anything that you're creating from scratch. The only people that don't have to sell are the people that are getting a paycheck to do a job for someone else who's selling. If you create something that you love, you better sell. And in fact, ironically though, the arena for me is solving a problem because I hate to sell. I mean, I really do hate to sell with every fiber of my being because I've been so committed all my life to bringing the person of Jesus to the world. And I never wanted anyone to feel like I was selling. I hate it when people would say, oh, you've been selling Jesus all your life. I'm going, no, I haven't.
Yeah.
I don't sell Jesus.
Yeah.
And it always irritated me. So that's why I always stayed away from the whole sales space. But here's the thing, that I'm going to create content all my life. I love creating content that changes people's lives.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep doing that.
Yeah.
And the best way to solve the selling problem is create a learning community where people are members and you're just creating content and giving it to them for free inside of that space.
Yeah.
And so for me, the arena solves my selling problem for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I can create the art of creativity and the art of thinking, and I can create all of this content in the years to come, put it in the arena, and never have to sell it again. All we do is inviting people into the arena to join us there.
I know, it's pretty crazy. And it's one of those things where like you're pretty limited to what you're able to put out into the world. Sorry, one sec. You're pretty limited on what you can actually put out into the world because, you know, publishing books is a slow process.
Yeah.
This podcast has been really cool because you've been able to like spit out ideas in such a way, at such a rate that maybe you've never been able to before. But that's why I really love your Sunday talks, because your Sunday talks end up turning into books, into other podcasts, into other innovative ideas. You know, you called me, or you know, the other day you were like, hey, I think we need to pull Epiphanies off of YouTube. I need to write that into a book or put that into the arena. And it is one of those things that you have a massive commitment to releasing so much content for free. We put out a lot of stuff for free, which is super cool. The arena is kind of the dark side of the moon, the other side of the moon, this space where we're able to go to the fringe, we're able to go to the core values and to really like explore our ideology and our thought process. And for me, this feels like the grand opus. Like this feels, yeah, it does. It feels like it feels, you know, I talked about this with you when I was in London. We were in Copenhagen together. I was like, I don't know if I have a dream anymore. Like, I don't know what my dream is. And I was like, but it doesn't mean I haven't had a life of purpose. And I feel like I've had a lot of purpose in my life. So I'm like, I don't know what my dream is. Like, my dream is like with this to hit, you know, I would love to hit financial goals, but like we throw them out like very, very frivolously. We're like, cool, it'd be cool to achieve this. So then we can give to Mosaic $1 million, you know, or to do this and solve these problems for people that we love, and to do more in the world, build more schools and all these things. But really, like, this feels like the culmination of a life's work, and to put it in a place that goes like, this is where you can find us, like meet us here. Yeah. You know, and we've talked about, it's like a lighthouse. We've talked about this. You talk about the frequencies and the lonely whale and people all over the world to find us. And we were in London and it was starting to rain. And that was basically my summer in London. LA rained for 6 months. I leave. The 1 week it's sunny in LA, and then it rains for 3 more weeks in London. Sorry, I almost knocked over my tea. Austin looked up like and then it rains in London, and me and you were walking in London on a random street, and this young man, like, like really subtly, is like elegantly just grabs you and goes,
I liked him. Yeah.
Your talk last week, or your talk at Renaissance last November changed my life. And it was just one of those beautiful moments. And he goes, they didn't release it online. And I think they did release it online. I said, just give me half an hour, I'll leak it online, just letting you know. And I'll figure it out. But he was just so beautiful. And you stopped him and you grabbed him and you're like, tell me your name, tell me what's, you know. And then I was like, this is the place where our friends around the world can come together and really challenge each other. And I'm very excited. So I don't know how many more times I can say I'm excited. I'm nervous. I feel like this is going to change the world.
Yeah, no, when you're talking about the Epiphany talk, I got a text this morning from Ed Milet, who's probably one of the most influential business leaders and communicators in America. And he just responds, he goes, one of the most amazing, miraculous talks ever heard in my life. You're absolutely out of your mind. But then, and I just thought this was such a beautiful response. And I think one of the things that people don't realize is that what we give away for free to the world through Mosaic is, I'm going to say, it's really rare. And it's not what you get other places.
No.
And I've had people come for years here say, hey, I paid Tony Robbins like $1 million to coach me, and I get to get a higher value for free just by coming here. And so I feel like we're really covering all of our bases here. If, you know, when people say, hey, I can't afford this, I go, man, download everything at Mosaic. It's free. It's beautiful. And we're going to give you world-class content. And leadership development it's just pervasive at Mosaic. And then, you know, not everyone can afford one-on-one coaching. Not everyone can afford to be in like the mastermind level. But the arena is really accessible for people who really want to grow and learn and develop as human beings.
I mean, what you do for people in the hundreds of thousands of dollars level for one-on-one consulting and executive team consulting, I hope it's okay that I share that, because you're really quiet and personable about it. You're pretty private about it. But I feel like it's important for people to know that what you do at that level you're boiling it down and going, okay, look, this is the core foundation. This is how I get there. This isn't just what I'm teaching. Like, we're putting in a session that you taught to guys who are paying 30, 50K to be in a room. I hope this is okay that I'm airing our stuff out, but you're putting that on the arena and going, we're not editing it. We're going, this is 4 hours of just like raw of what you did. We're going to make it look nicer. But for me, I think it's really important for people to go, this isn't a different product. This is the same thing. This is just going, it's also peer learning and group learning. And my dream for the arena, my like true dream for the arena is that in 2 years time, in 3 years time, 4 years time, 5 years time, that our headliners are people who grew up in the arena. That there's people who are selling books, who are writing books, who are bringing life-changing products and going, in the arena, I was able to sharpen my tools and launch my company and take it public and sell it for $1 billion and then come back and be the headline speaker at the arena. Yeah.
In fact, someone, I'll let him be nameless until we bring him on the podcast, but he sent me.
Yeah, I hate when you do this. It makes me like Jones.
What?
Because sometimes I don't know.
No, it's pretty amazing. His company is one of the companies that I've been working with. And
that you consult for at a high performance coaching level,
and helping develop a leadership development culture. The highest their company was ever ranked before this past year that we were working with them was 3,200 on the Inc. 5,000.
Oh wow, okay,
that's pretty.
That's
they're at least
bad.
This year
there's a lot of companies.
They went from 3,200 to number 20.
Number 20.
Number 20.
In the
2023 Inc. 5,000 ranking.
Is this who I think it is?
Yes, it is.
Our friend?
Yes, it is. This is the company I've been working with for the last year that's broken every single record every month.
He has to speak. We have to do something with him. He can do something at the conference.
Yeah,
right?
He will definitely be speaking at the conference.
I don't know if there's a.
He doesn't know it yet.
Yeah, he doesn't know it, but he's phenomenal. He's a phenomenal person. Basically, you took his team once a quarter. He flew his top 30
to 40,
They said basically he didn't fly them. He said, you can come to this. And opened up one Saturday every quarter with you and our team. And you basically broke down, you do what you do with on the one-on-one level, but for 30 people. And these guys are killers.
Yeah, they're amazing.
And it's cool to kind of get to know them because it's been a year. And like now we've hung out with them 5 or 6 days over the last year.
But I'm just saying, this is your part of the vision of, we want this to happen to people in the arena.
Yeah, that's tangible proof that what you're teaching and what we're developing is working.
Yeah, and then we could take guys like him who've actually done it, and we put them in the arena, and they joyfully will invest in other people because he wants other people to succeed the same way he has succeeded. And, by the way, I wanted to talk about this.
I feel like we don't you just throw it out there like it's nothing. Like he went from oblivion now. 3,200 was nice until you went to 20.
32 out of 5,000 is pretty good.
32 out of 5,000 is not bad.
3,200 out of 5,000 is, to be in the top 5,000 is amazing.
Right.
To be 3,200 and 5,000 is extraordinary. To be 20 is mind blowing.
We don't have a wall because we don't have an office, but I would like to put this on the wall.
Yeah, I want to put it on the wall too. We'll find some way to celebrate that.
We didn't single-handedly take a company, but over the last year, we have taken a company that was 30.
We've helped a company.
We have been a part. I feel like we're a part of their team.
Yes, we are.
Right.
And completely.
I DM with those guys. I text with those guys.
Yeah.
How many of those guys have given their lives to Jesus, which is such a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And then these guys are just they're balling out on one of the biggest years they've ever had. And it's so cool. It's cool to see the head guy too, because he's one of your best friends.
Yeah.
He's become one of your best friends. And I feel like he's walking with a different peace.
Yes.
And calm than I've ever seen him.
Yeah, he just keeps elevating as a human being. And because he elevates, the whole company elevates.
Yeah.
And
so,
it's just so much fun.
Congratulations.
When he sent that to me, and I was like, I just was cheering, I was screaming inside of my soul, going, what a practical, tangible proof of success. Talk about proof of concept.
I know.
That's proof of concept, because everything
that's the name of this podcast.
Everything that we're going to do in the arena is what we've done with that company.
Cut this right here, and this is the opening line. Everything we're going to do in the arena is what we just did with that company.
And what we're going to continue to do. And because their founder has allowed us to create an R&D space for business development and leadership development. And it's proving itself out so powerfully. And one of the things that for me, I'm very, very excited about is I do want to help good people do more good.
Mm.
And sometimes we try to act so ethereal, like, just be good people and let other people be capitalists and let other people start companies, let other people create wealth. And I'm like, no, when I look at the Old Testament, God positioned Joseph and Daniel and Moses and David and Solomon and Esther, all of them in positions of both incredible economic power and even cultural power, and sometimes even political power. And we, I think, sometimes underestimate how much God wants to entrust a person with to actually have an impact on the world. So I want to shamelessly, without any apology, help people who have actually powerful moral compasses to do good in the world, create as much wealth as they possibly can so they can do as much good as they possibly can. At the same time, not let that wealth steal their soul. We want to create a foundation of character so that they can actually sustain that success and do all the good that they're created to do in the world.
And now that I know who it is, his number one guy, I think they had like a food drive or like a gift drive for like a local charity, I think. And I'm pretty sure they were posting something yesterday. And it's like, you're watching that third element, which is really the first element. And how I've explained this to people, really, we're watching people become more generous, becoming a higher character. And I think for a lot of people, like, you gave me a compass at a young age. I think a lot of people don't get a compass.
Yeah.
It's not that they have bad character. It's that some people do have bad character.
Yes.
But they don't, no one's saying like, this is true north. This is the way to go. And let me show you the way. This is this is the mistakes I've made. This is the things that I've done. These are the ways that I've taken, and this is how I've gotten to where I am. But it really is a very Isaiah 6:8, whom shall I send? Here I am, send me. And it is this idea, and maybe that's over dramatic, but it feels like this. I was talking about this with Carlos, who's, the head guy at Mosaic Hollywood's campus, one of the greatest leaders. And I was like, we just got to the point where it was like, we just can't rely on other people's generosity anymore. We have to become, and not that we have, I think you're one of the most generous people in our church. We have to build it ourselves. We have to do both. We have to inspire generosity and be the most generous. And I think we've answered the call, and that's what I'm really excited about for the arena.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I can't believe the time has come. I'm so excited about opening the doors of the arena and seeing who the first wave of our new community will be, and then to build from there. I think you're right. You said earlier before we went on air that you think we're going to end up having at least 10,000 people who join the arena. And I think that will be one of the most exciting things in the world.
Yeah.
Where 10,000 people are growing together, influencing each other, and raising the bar for each other's lives, elevating our thinking and our capacity, and doing so much good in the world that it'll just astonish people. I think the arena will not only be a community, it'll become a movement.
So here's a big thing for the arena, right? Here's our hard sell. So it will never be cheaper than it is right now, access to the arena. And what it gets you is a 1-year subscription to be a part of everything that we're doing. Our weekly calls this week, the next 3 months, we're pushing really hard to build everything that you might need to have access in this app and in the arena, in the online community. And it will never be cheaper than it is right now. The price changes Sunday night at midnight. So you need to buy it and sign up and join the arena by Sunday night at midnight, and follow the Instagram, Mindshift Podcast. Follow you, Erwin McManus. Go to erwinmcmanus.com/the arena and go and sign up right this moment.
And I would say when you sign up, put your calendar out and put aside October 6th and 7th, because once you join the arena, you get to be a part of the arena live in Los Angeles. So come to LA and join us for 2 days, and let that be an extraordinary value added to your membership.
And, you know, I realized why I was saying October 6th through 8th, because for me, if you've never been to church, you should come to Mosaic on Sunday.
Absolutely.
And so, you know, come the 6th, the 7th, it'll be full programming. It's going to be essentially a full conference in a unique way here in this building, in the heart of Hollywood. And then we're doing church on Sunday. And I think if you've never experienced it, you should.
I agree, 100%.
And I was sitting at a really, really cool place in London called Chiltern Firehouse, which is essentially the same owner as Chateau Marmont in LA. He owns, Andrea Bozar owns the Chiltern Firehouse. And I was sitting at dinner, and this woman, maybe 50, I think she said she's 50, had like a 14, 15-year-old son who looked like an adult. Like he just looked like he was just a big guy, looked like an adult, and he's sitting next to me. And, you know, we're in this spot is like, you have half a foot in between each other, you know? So then she just strikes up a conversation with the person I'm with, and I'm talking to the son, and he's just going like, he felt like you, to be honest. And he's like, I just feel like I'm so like, shut down in my school. Like I'm an entrepreneur. I know that I'm not thinking about what party I'm going to. I'm thinking about how I'm going to change the world. I'm thinking about how I'm going to make money and change the, like every like life in my friends like world. Like it was just such a beautiful, visionary young guy. And I was like, look, man, take my number, come to the arena. You need people who you can be surrounded by that will challenge you and influence you and build you. And I'm selling this thing to this young kid, and this kid has DM'd me, 15 times. When are the dates? What are the dates? Who's speaking? How can I sign up? How can I come? How do I order the book? How do I join the arena? And I'm like, the fervor and drive that this kid has made me excited to go, okay, this is what people need. You know, he has no connection to Mosaic. He's never heard of you, never heard of what we do. And it was so cool to just cold, like, hey, this is what we're going to launch. You should come. And to see his eyes light up and go, that's exactly what I need. And his mom has been DMing me. He's been DMing. And it's just cool to see that community already start to come to life.
That's amazing. And that's the thing, is when you create something to serve people, you don't have to sell. All you have to do is invite.
Yeah.
And the people who know this is what they've been searching for, this is what they've been longing for, what they need, they're already sold. And I love that piece that I can have when I go. We're creating something so valuable that I would have wished someone created it for me. And I wish I'd had this available to me 30 years ago. And but you can't go back and fix the past. You can go and create the future.
Okay, this is it. Rate and review this podcast, or don't, but join the arena. I'm so excited. I can't even contain it. By the time you hear this, we will have been live for 2 days. And then our first online live session is next Monday, right? Monday morning, Monday evening. I think we're doing, doing Monday 10 a.m. Then we're doing an evening session at some point that week. So depending on where you are in the world, you can access it. And then everything that we do live, we're also going to edit and post on the arena as well. So I love you, Dad. I love doing this podcast.
Love you too, buddy. Good to have you home.
Thanks, Austin. All right.
Here we go.